Thank you very much. Your Excellency, President of Kenya, Your Excellency, President of South Sudan, or other excellencies, representatives, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for the opportunity to address this crowd and to speak at this extremely important event, which the European Union supports with full force. As my colleague from the UK already highlighted, I think South Sudan is at the moment finding itself in a situation where it needs help. It needs help from the neighbors. It needs help from the international community. I'm really pleased that we are coming together here today, and we are trying to provide that assistance. The EU has been actively involved in the launch of this process in the Kenyan-led mediation initiative, and we have been a formal observer of the process, and we maintain very close contact both with our Kenyan counterparts, with the other countries in the region, and with the international community, with the representatives of Troika and the others. For us, I think it's extremely important that the mediators, that this initiative is not trying to reinvent the wheel. We do have a framework in place, and it's important that that framework remains the starting point for continuation of this initiative. We're trying to revitalize the peace agreement of 2018, and it's important that it's an inclusive process, the civil society is engaged, and all the other actors are involved. For us, one of the key issues in the peace agreement was the delivery of the elections. Our colleague from the UK already spoke about this, and this still remains the target. A very important step for the transition of South Sudan. We're committed to working in that direction and to providing all our support. I thank you very much again, and I wish good luck to our colleagues from Kenya and to all the others. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andre. Ambassador Hammer, you have 3 minutes. As you make your way up, Ambassador Ware, the Deputy Executive Secretary of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, that have been the handmaidens to the revitalized agreement, will follow soon thereafter. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Excellencies, Presidents of Kenya and South Sudan, distinguished delegations, international colleagues, all protocols observed. Let me also express condolences to the people of Kenya for the tragic flooding that has occurred in recent days. As the United States, we're pleased to be able to provide $1 million in USAID assistance, and we are sure Kenya will come back even stronger after these events. The United States applauds the leadership of His Excellency President William Ruto for agreeing to take on this mediation between the ARCSIS, non-signatory parties, and the government of South Sudan. As we prepare for President Ruto's state visit to Washington later this month, we recognize Kenya's vital role as a regional leader on peace building and security in East Africa. I would also like to commend the commitment of General Lazaro Zumbawo for his mediation efforts. We all remember what he did with the Comprehensive Peace Agreement, as well as my colleague, Ambassador Guyo, who I've had the pleasure of working with over the last couple of years to support peace in the region. We greatly appreciate being included in this mediation effort as observers and look forward to working with Kenya on yet another important regional peace-building effort. We share with partners in the region a set of fundamental priorities and values when it comes to South Sudan. First and foremost, peace. A full transition of South Sudan toward democracy, respect for human rights, and a government responsive to the needs of the South Sudanese people provide the best avenue towards sustained and durable peace in South Sudan. The United States, and I believe the international partners in this room, recognizes that the 2018 peace agreement has not been implemented, nor have the promises made following the 2022 extension and subsequent roadmap. We have been clear and will continue to urge the South Sudanese leaders live up to their responsibilities. We are confident that President Ruto and his mediating team can manage an inclusive process, one that reinvigorates the peace agreement and supports South Sudan in establishing a durable peace. The United States stands behind Kenya in this effort because we believe it presents an opportunity that the government and the non-signatories alike can and must seize. Without serious efforts by the government and peace agreement signatories to establish the conditions for lasting peace, as they promised in 2018, there remains far too great a risk of widespread violence and a return to civil war. Non-signatories also have this opportunity to demonstrate that they, too, are committed to peace. The region can ill afford further conflict, and the South Sudanese people who have waited far too long must see their aspirations met. In this vein, let me reiterate the United States position that allocating further financial resources for election preparations absent urgent action by the transitional government would send the wrong message. We will not support an electoral process that, without urgent action by the transitional government, would not be free, fair, or credible. For an electoral process to be credible, we must see the South Sudan government devoting its own resources to support the electoral institutions it has established. Let me close by restating the United States' steadfast commitment to working with partners like Kenya and regional institutions like IGAD and the African Union to advance peace and security in the Horn of Africa for the benefit of the peoples of the region. Thank you. Asante sana.
Thank you, Ambassador Hammer. My pleasure to invite Ambassador Mohamed Ouare.
His Excellency William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Salva Kiir, President of South Sudan, Prime Minister Hamza Barre, Prime Minister of the Government of Somalia, Ambassadors, Special Envoys, ladies and gentlemen. I'm extremely honored to be part of the official launch of the high-level mediation for South Sudan and deliver the statement of IGAD on behalf of our Executive Secretary, His Excellency Dr. Workane Gabiyo. From the outset, I would like to thank President William Ruto for agreeing to host and mediate the high-level talks between Government of Sudan and non-signatory groups, as well as availing the necessary resources and expertise for the talks. Kenya has an illustrious history in peacemaking in the region. It will be recalled that Kenya played a pivotal role in hosting and leading the IGAD mediation process that culminated in the signing of the Comprehensive Peace Agreement of January 2005 that paved the way for the independence of the Republic of South Sudan. And I might add also the Eldoret and Imbagati peace processes that midwifed the Somalia transitional federal government. As a regional organization, IGAD is fully committed to support the efforts of His Excellency President Ruto and the Republic of Kenya, geared toward ensuring the inclusive and participatory completion of the South Sudan mediation talks. IGAD strongly believes that the 2018 peace agreement provides the general framework and avenues for addressing the concerns and demands of non-signatory groups. What is now required is to create the platform and a conducive environment to adequately and satisfactorily respond to these concerns and demands. It is therefore absolutely necessary that care must be taken that these talks must be conducted in conformity with the letter and spirit of the 2018 agreement. Despite multifaceted challenges and delays in the implementation, commendable progress has been made in the implementation of the 2018 peace agreement. The ceasefire is generally holding. A government of national unity has been formed and is functioning. The process of unification of forces, political reform, permanent constitutional arrangements, and financial and economic resource reforms have started and are ongoing. South Sudan, as a result, has been reaping the benefits of the peace dividends for the past 5 years. IGAD is, however, aware of the fact that implementation is facing challenges emanating from trust deficit among the parties in the agreement, lack of political will, and adequate resourcing. Equally concerning is the absence of critical groups in the peace process, which undermines not only the sustainability of the peace agreement, but can also damage the unity and harmony of the people of South Sudan. In this regard, we members of the regional body and the international community have the collective responsibility to support this peace process to its conclusion. I would like to seize this opportunity to call on the heads of states and government, donors, groups of goodwill to support this process financially, technically, and morally for its successful conclusion. Let me once again conclude by thanking His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, whose personal diplomacy and initiative brought us to this day and will ensure, with all our efforts and help, for the successful implementation of the mediation process for South Sudan. God bless you all.
Thank you, Ambassador Ware. Your Excellency, the reconstituted Joint Monitoring and Evaluation Commission has been monitoring the revitalized peace agreement's implementation. It is my pleasure to invite General Gitwai to give a snippet of the status. You're welcome, General.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan and Chairperson of the East African Community, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government present here, Excellencies, Ambassadors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I would like, on behalf of the RJMEC, the official body that is mandated to oversee, monitor, and evaluate the implementation of the revitalized agreement on the dissolution of the conflict in the Republic of South Sudan, allow me to seize this opportunity to thank His Excellency Dr. Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, for accepting the request from His Excellency Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, to mediate between the government of South Sudan and the non-signatory parties. This bold and decisive step, taken towards creating an opportunity for the government, the holdout groups, and the people of the Republic of South Sudan to dialogue and chart the way forward in a peaceful manner for their country in the IGAD region is commendable. Your Excellency, South Sudan has experienced a long period of conflict, and the success of the high-level mediation of South Sudan Nairobi process marks a significant step in laying the foundation towards achieving enduring peace and stability in the country. These talks should create a momentum for achieving inclusivity, build tolerance, reconciliation, and forgiveness, recognizing that having peace, justice, and strong institutions in a country promotes stability, fairness, and accountability, leading to sustainable development and a better quality of life for citizens. Therefore, peace in the Republic of South Sudan is paramount, not just for the South Sudanese people, but also for the shared security and prosperity of our region. RJMEC as a commission mandated to monitor the implementation of the Tripartite Peace Agreement recognizes the role that IGAD heads of state and government as guarantors of the peace agreement have played thus far in responding to various issues concerning the implementation. The Tripartite and Government National Unity, which we call RTGNU, was established by the agreement. I therefore take this opportunity to commend and hail the leadership of His Excellency President Salva Kiir Mayardit, who has on many occasions stated that he shall not allow and he shall never allow South Sudan to go back to war again. I also wish to commend the parties to the agreement for their continued unity of purpose, ensuring the Tripartite government stays the course of peace. In that respect, it is important to note that permanent ceasefire continues to hold between the parties in the agreement since the signing of the peace agreement in 2018, and South Sudan has now experienced 5.5 years of relative peace, despite sporadic skirmishes and communal fighting that continues to occur in several parts of the country. This relative peace, compared to previous years before 2018, is commendable. It's a commendable achievement and needs to be further consolidated. The South Sudan mediation process in Nairobi has the potential to further contribute to the consolidation of this peace in South Sudan. I thank you.
Thank you most kindly, General Gitwai. Your Excellency, there are two parties to this mediation. It is my pleasure to invite Pagan Amum to speak on behalf of SOMA. Your Excellency, Pagan Amum. Please.
Your Excellency, President William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, President Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, Your Excellencies, heads of states, and other guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the opposition movements and on behalf of the National Consensus Forum, I would like to thank President Ruto for accepting the request of President Salva Kiir Mayardit to mediate between the government of South Sudan and the opposition. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, South Sudan has been at war and conflict with itself for almost all the time since its independence. South Sudanese have fought, displaced and killed themselves. Since 2013, they have negotiated and signed agreements under the IGAD mediation. They have also negotiated and signed several documents in Rome under the mediation of Sant'Egidio community. All these agreements have not ushered South Sudan into peace and good governance. All the transitions and the transitional governments have failed to take South Sudan into peace. Today, South Sudan is threatened with disintegration and collapse into chaos and disorder. It is gripped by multiple crises. The country suffers from a constitutional crisis. It is governed by interim constitutions and presidential decrees. The process for the people of South Sudan to make and adopt their permanent constitution is stalled. This is a crisis. The country is also in a political crisis, with a dysfunctional government unable to deliver peace and services to its people, or to return the power to the people to elect their governments in free, peaceful, and fair elections. The country is in a severe economic crisis, and the state has been bankrupted. It is incapable to pay its civil servants or make any meaningful development, or even to maintain its diplomatic missions outside the country. To the point that some of its diplomats are evicted and made homeless, like what happened in Rome 2 days ago. Our country is suffering probably the worst humanitarian crisis in our history. More than 75% of our population are in danger of starvation and hunger. For them to survive, they need humanitarian assistance in the world that is also changing and becoming more difficult today. South Sudan is in another crisis. Probably it is among the first countries that have become victim of climate change. We have been having floods for the last 5 years, and large territory of South Sudan is under floods continuously for the last 5 years, while other areas are suffering drought, disrupting our subsistence agriculture and causing food insecurity. With also a lot of waves, heat waves that are disrupting the normal life of our people. The social fabric of our society is torn and destroyed. Communities are divided and are made to fight among themselves. South Sudan is engulfed in conflict and violence among our communities. All these crises need South Sudanese to put their heads together, to dialogue and find solutions. This is the only best way for us to respond to your initiative and that of the region and the international community. Engaging in national dialogue and building national consensus and agreeing to a new social contract is what is required. But for us to achieve this, I believe, and in this, with this initiative, which is the Hope Initiative, Tumaini Initiative, to give hope to our people, we need to leave the mindset of conflict we need to stop seeing ourselves as enemies. We are brothers and sisters. President Kiir, we are brothers and sisters. As the present generation of South Sudanese, we are the founding mothers and fathers of this new nation. Our historical task is to lay the foundation of this new nation. This is really our historical task after independence. And to achieve that, we have to engage in dialogue, we have to be positive, we have to overcome this hatred that has filled our hearts. This is not time for that, especially now that the world is changing and there are many crises that are even coming up beyond the one that we have created ourselves. I believe this is our last opportunity. And we must take this seriously and engage in dialogue, and it must be an inclusive dialogue. What we need is not another peace agreement. Peace agreements are not being implemented. What we need is a serious dialogue, a real soul search, so that we can really address the root causes and come out with a new social contract that will define what type of a state we want to have, that will define what type of a nation we are and how do we manage our affairs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, Your Excellency. His Excellency Paganamum was speaking on behalf of the entire group, General Paul Malong of the South Sudan United Front, Stephen Boy of the South Sudan People's Movement, and Mario Jada of the National Salvation Front Revolutionary Command Council, amongst others. It is my pleasure, Your Excellency, to invite the leader of delegation of the government mediation team, Honorable Albino, to share a few words. Thank you very much.
To our host, Your Excellency, Dr. William Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya. To His Excellency, General Salva Kiir Mayardit, the President of the Republic of South Sudan. To all head of the state present, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. From the onset, allow me to thank the President of the Republic of South Sudan, His Excellency General Salva Kiir Mayardit, for entrusting us, the delegation of the Transitional Government of National Unity, to negotiate with the opposition and the whole-out group in a very good faith. As the head of the government delegation, I take this opportunity to reassure Your Excellency that we are determined to do our best to openly negotiate in accordance with your guidance in order to bring the lasting peace to our beloved country. Your Excellencies, may I report that in the last 1 week, we have been engaged in pre-mediation consultation, and we have listened to our brother presentation on the various concern and position from our brothers and sisters from the opposition group. I am confident that with the help with the mediator, we will reach an agreement. Lastly, I wish to assure my brothers and sisters from the opposition group that my delegation and I, we will openly negotiate in a good faith and abide by the guidance of His Excellency President Salva Kiir Mayardit to ensure that the Nairobi peace process give a birth to the lasting peace in the Republic of South Sudan. And on a personal level, to His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, you really mean well for the people of Africa, and you really mean well for the people of South Sudan. You are a gift to the people of Kenya. Thank you very much. God bless South Sudan, and God bless Kenya.
Your Excellency, you entrusted the leadership of this process to two men, General Sumbeiwa and Ambassador Guyo. It is my pleasure to invite General Sumbeiwa just to share with you where we are. General Sumbeiwa, please. You have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, Your Excellency, President Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, Your Excellencies, heads of state and government, representatives of the UN agencies, members of the diplomatic corps, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the high-level mediation for South Sudan, I wish to take the opportunity to thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, for convening this important occasion to launch the South Sudanese peace process, to which you appointed me a month ago as a chief mediator. The presence of both regional and international partners who have previously worked with South Sudan in search for peace is a testament of their unwavering commitment towards this goal. The mediation